No more calls, no more photos, no return. In October of 2018, the Smoky Mountains were alive with the colors of autumn. The trees burned with reds and golds, and the cool mountain air carried the scent of pine and wet earth. For most visitors, this was a season of peace, a time to hike, to camp, to be swallowed by the beauty of nature. But for one father and son, what began as a simple adventure into these mountains would end in tragedy, mystery, and 5 years of haunting silence. Michael Turner was 42 years old. He was not an expert survivalist, but he was no stranger to the outdoors either. A mechanic by trade, a father by heart, he loved nothing more than taking his 13-year-old son, Ethan, into the wild. Ethan was bright, curious, and always eager to follow his father's lead. This trip was meant to be special, just the two of them, 3 days in the Smokies, camping under the stars, away from phones, away from the noise of daily life. On the morning of October 12th, they drove into the park, parking near the trailhead at Klingman's Dome. Fellow hikers later recalled seeing them smiling, adjusting their packs, and starting down the trail. Michael carried the heavier load. Ethan bounced along with his smaller pack, full of excitement. They were just another father and son, out to make memories. For that first day, everything seemed normal. In fact, evidence shows they were enjoying themselves. Photos recovered later from Michael's phone show father and son standing proudly beside a rushing stream. Another picture, taken just hours before their disappearance, captured Ethan pointing toward the canopy above, his face lit with wonder. But after that, silence. No more calls, no more photos, no return. When they failed to come home, their family knew something was wrong. Michael was responsible, careful. He wouldn't simply disappear. By the evening of October 15th, the Turners were officially reported missing. The search began immediately. Within hours, rangers and volunteers fanned out across the park. Dogs tracked faint scents, but lost them in the shifting winds. Helicopters scanned the canopy from above. Volunteers walked for miles, shouting their names into the vast silence of the woods. But the Smoky Mountains are not gentle. They cover over 500,000 acres of dense forest and rugged terrain. Trails twist, vanish, and reappear in unexpected places. The weather can change in an instant, sunshine giving way to cold rain and fog thick enough to erase landmarks. To the untrained eye, every direction looks the same, and even the trained can be fooled. For 2 weeks, the search continued. Camp after camp was checked. Valleys, rivers, and ridges were scoured. Yet there was nothing. No tent, no clothing, no trace of Michael or Ethan. It was as if the forest itself had swallowed them whole. Theories spread quickly. Some believed they had fallen into one of the many hidden ravines or caves that dot the Smokies. Others whispered of foul play, that perhaps someone had been waiting for them on the trail. And then, of course, there were the darker theories, the ones locals rarely speak about. The Smokies, after all, hold many legends, stories of spirits, strange lights, and things in the woods that can't be explained. But whatever the truth, one fact remained. The father and son were gone. Months passed. Winter buried the mountains in snow. The case went cold. And for 5 long years, the Turner family lived in agony. Every phone call brought a flicker of hope. Every news story stirred old wounds. Ethan's mother, left behind, clung to the smallest possibility that her husband and son might somehow still be alive. And then, in the summer of 2023, a discovery changed everything. It began innocently enough. A hiker flying a recreational drone over a remote section of the mountains noticed something strange. At first, it looked like nothing, just a patch of color among endless green. But when the drone drew closer, the truth became clear. A campsite. The camera revealed a blue tent, weathered by years of wind and rain. Gear was scattered around, rusted pots, torn fabric, and a small backpack. And near the edge of the clearing, half hidden under a rocky overhang, something that froze the hiker's blood. Authorities were called in immediately. Rangers trekked for hours through the unforgiving terrain, guided by GPS coordinates from the drone. And there, deep in a valley so remote it was nearly invisible from the trails, they found the truth. The tent was indeed Michael's. Inside were personal belongings that confirmed it beyond doubt. A flashlight, a small camping stove, and Ethan's school ID card. Time had weathered everything, but the items remained, silent witnesses to what had happened. And nearby, searchers found human remains. DNA testing later confirmed the heartbreaking truth. After 5 years of questions, the father and son had finally been found. The exact circumstances of their deaths remain a mystery. Experts believe they may have lost their way, strayed from the marked trail, and ended up in the hidden valley. Perhaps Michael was injured, forcing them to set up camp and wait for rescue that never came. Perhaps a storm trapped them, cutting off their supplies and strength. The Smokies are unforgiving. Nights can plunge to freezing even in October. Food is scarce, water can be dangerous, and predators lurk in the shadows. Survival, especially without outside help, is nearly impossible. For the Turner family, the discovery was both devastating and relieving. The pain of loss was overwhelming, but at last, the endless uncertainty was over. At last, they had answers. The Smoky Mountains remain one of America's most visited national parks. Each year, millions of hikers and campers walk its trails, marveling at its beauty. But hidden in that beauty is danger, a reminder that nature is powerful, unpredictable, and often merciless. The story of Michael and Ethan Turner is not just about tragedy. It is about the bond of a father and son, about love carried even into the darkest places. It is about the power of hope and the way a single drone flight 5 years later finally brought closure to a mystery that haunted a family and a community. And yet, even as the case is closed, one question lingers. How many other secrets lie hidden in the valleys and forests of the Smokies, waiting for discovery? The mountains keep their silence, the forest guards its mysteries, and the world may never know the full truth of what happened on that October day in 2018. But one thing is certain: the father and son who vanished into the Smokies will never be forgotten.